There's a house at the end of Willow Street that no one will rent twice. Every tenant leaves within a month, always after the same night, the one when the walls start whispering. I moved in because it was cheap, too cheap. The landlord looked relieved when I signed. That should have been the first warning. The place was small but clean. Old wallpaper, crooked frames, a faint smell of dust, and something sweet. The first night was quiet. The second night, I heard the whispers. It started as a soft hum, like someone talking behind the walls. I paused the TV. The sound stopped. When I pressed my ear to the wall, there was only silence. But later, around 2 a.m., I woke up to someone saying my name, clearly, slowly, Eli. I froze. The voice came from the corner near the dresser, the one place the light didn't reach. I turned on the lamp. Empty room. The next morning, I told myself it was a dream. I even laughed about it. But when I came home that night, my name was written on the bathroom mirror, traced in the steam. I started recording everything: audio, video, even motion sensors from an old security kit. For 2 nights, nothing happened. Then on the third, my camera picked up movement in the hallway at 3:13 a.m. Just a flicker, like a shadow passing. When I slowed it down, I saw something else. A shape crouched beside my bedroom door, pale, still, watching. The audio track had whispers again. I played them backwards. The voice said, "Stay." That's when I realized the sound wasn't coming through the walls. It was coming from inside the recordings. I called the landlord the next morning. He didn't sound surprised, just tired. He said the previous tenant had done the same thing. Cameras, audio, the whole setup. Then he vanished. The police found his phone still recording on the floor. It captured the same whispers, and one last word before cutting out: "Welcome." That night, I packed my things. I wasn't staying another hour, but when I opened the front door, it wasn't the street outside. It looked like my living room. Same couch, same clock, but darker, like everything had been drained of color. I stepped out anyway, thinking maybe it was just a trick of the light. Behind me, the door slammed shut. The whispers surrounded me now, louder, hundreds of voices, some laughing, some crying. I ran to the window. Nothing outside, just black. The clock struck 3:13 a.m. Again. I covered my ears, screaming, and then silence. When I opened my eyes, I was back in bed, daylight pouring through the window. My bags were still packed. The clock read 8 a.m. For a second, I thought it was all a dream, until I noticed the voice memo app open on my phone. It had recorded through the night. I pressed play. My breathing filled the first few seconds. Then, the same whisper, "Stay." But this time, there was something else. My own voice, calm, distant, replying, "I never left." I moved out the next day. A month later, I saw the listing online again. Same pictures, same price. The description said now available, previously occupied by Eli. The photo of the living room had one difference. In the corner near the dresser, a faint shadow smiling. When I bought the house, the agent said it was built in the 1940s. Cozy, simple, one floor. But on the third night, I found a door that wasn't on the blueprint. And the worst part, someone was already inside. I wasn't superstitious. I'd bought old houses before, but this one felt different. Heavy air, uneven creaks, wallpaper that bubbled like something beneath it was breathing. I was stripping it down to restore it, peeling layers off the walls. That's when I found a seam. A perfect rectangle hidden under the paper, like a door outline that had been painted shut. I tapped it, hollow. The blueprints I'd pulled from city records showed nothing there. No door, no extra room, just a solid wall. I pressed harder. The plaster cracked, dust spilling out. Behind it, a wooden door, smaller than normal, maybe 4 feet wide, with a brass knob that turned on its own when I touched it. The hinges groaned open. Inside was a child's bedroom. Everything spotless, toys neatly arranged, a bed made tight, curtains tied in bows, not a single speck of dust. But the rest of the house had been untouched for decades. I stood there, staring. The air was warm, like someone had just left. And on the dresser, a small tape recorder. I pressed play. At first, laughter. A girl's voice, maybe 8 or 9. Then mid-laugh, a sharp click and silence. I rewound. Same thing. When I turned to leave, one toy, a wooden horse, was lying on its side. I could have sworn it had been upright seconds before. I backed out, shut the door, and taped it off. But that night, while reviewing renovation photos, something was off. In the picture of the sealed door before I had opened it, a faint handprint was already visible on the wallpaper. I couldn't sleep, so I went back, camera in hand. The door was open again. The tape recorder sat on the floor, still running. This time, it wasn't laughter, it was breathing. Slow, steady, and then a whisper. "You took too long." I bolted out, slammed the main door, and didn't stop running until I reached my truck. Next morning, I went to the county archives. The clerk flipped through yellowed files, confused. That house was condemned in 1972, he said. I told him that couldn't be right. I'd been living there for weeks. He frowned, pointed to a photo in the record. It was my house, but the roof was caved in. The caption read "House Fire. Child missing, presumed dead." The name beneath it matched the signature on my purchase contract, the agent's name. I drove back to pack my things. The front door was open. My renovation tools were gone. On the floor by the wall, where I'd uncovered the hidden room, there was fresh wallpaper. And behind it, nothing, just a flat wall. I checked my phone. Every photo I'd taken of that room was blank white static, except one, the last one. It showed me standing in the doorway, smiling. Only, I don't remember ever smiling. I moved out that night. A month later, I saw a new listing online. Same address, same description. The photo of the living room looked familiar. In the corner, near the wall, a child's wooden horse, lying on its side. Some rooms never close. They said the attic room was empty. But on my first night, the mirror at the end of the hall smiled before I did. The building was old, built sometime in the early 1900s. The landlord said no one stayed long, but the rent was cheap, and I didn't believe in haunted stories. My room was small, a single bed, a desk, and a narrow hallway leading to the shared bathroom. At the very end of that hallway was a tall, gilded mirror. It looked antique, but too clean, too perfect. The kind of mirror that feels like it's looking back. That first week, I noticed something strange. Every time I walked past it, my reflection lagged. Not much, half a second, maybe less, but enough for me to feel it. Once, I raised my hand to scratch my head. The reflection hesitated, then copied me, but slower, smoother, like it was thinking about it. I told myself I was imagining things. I stopped looking at it when I walked by. On the fourth night, the power went out. I used my phone light to find the breaker box, which, of course, was right beside the mirror. As I passed, the reflection's light flickered, like its phone battery was dying. But mine wasn't. Then I saw it. My reflection still standing there. Phone raised, but my hand was already down. It was watching me. The next morning, I told my friend Mia. She laughed, said mirrors can warp with temperature, old glass, whatever. But when she came over that night, she went pale. She asked, "Why did you move it?" I didn't understand. The mirror had been bolted to the wall since I moved in. Mia swore it had been facing the other direction the last time she visited. I didn't argue, I just smiled weakly, pretending it didn't bother me. But that night, when I passed by again, the mirror was facing straight at my door. Problem solved, right? Except around 3 a.m., I heard a soft rustle fabric brushing against glass. When I opened my door, the sheet was on the floor. The mirror was uncovered. My reflection was still under the sheet. I ran back into my room, slammed the door, and didn't sleep. The next day, I called the landlord, told him the mirror was creeping me out. He went quiet for a while. Then he said, "You cannot remove it. It's been part of the house since it was built." He told me it belonged to the original owner, a woman who rented rooms after her daughter died in a fire upstairs. She said her daughter still lived in the mirror, he added. Then he hung up. That night, I decided to test it. I set up my phone to record the hallway. I waved at my reflection and stood still. On screen, my reflection waved back, then stepped closer. The glass rippled. My phone glitched, static bleeding through the frame. The last thing the video showed wasn't me. It was the reflection, still smiling. Long after I'd walked away, I moved out the next day. A month later, the building was listed again, same room, same mirror. The listing photo showed a tall shape standing at the end of the hall. The reflection smiled first. Some mirrors don't reflect, they remember.